guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my August TBR. I really have no idea what I want to read in August. Usually going into my TBRs, I kind of have some sort of plan or some books that I would like to read. But right now I am totally wide open with my TBR. If you saw my bookshelf reorganization video, I now have all of my books up on my bookshelf, so I have access to all of my books for the first time in a couple months. So I kind of am just going into this TBR with no plan. There is one readathon that I probably will participate in, and that is the dark romance readathon. I will leave the links down below to it if you want to check that out. So I probably will have a couple dark romances incorporated into my TBR, but other than that, I have no idea what I want to read. So this video is being sponsored by Book of the Month. So Book of the Month is a popular online book service for readers. Their mission is to promote new and emerging authors, and every month they have a curated selection of 5 new release hardcovers. And it is completely risk-free, so you can skip any month, anytime, and you will not be charged if you don't like any of these selections for that month. Plus, they have the best price for hardcover fiction at just $9.99 if you use my code Riley. So here are the 5 selections for August. We have Not a Happy Family by Shari Lapina, which is a thriller about a rich couple who is murdered, and their 3 kids are all now set to inherit a ton of money. The Heart Principle by Helen Huang, which is the 3rd book in this romance series that I am so unbelievably excited for. Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaughey, which is about a woman who is trying to save a species of wolves in the Highlands who the townspeople think are responsible for some deaths that have happened. Damnation Spring by Ash Davidson, which takes place in the 1970s and follows loggers in the Redwood Forest and the impact that the herbicides have had on the people in the community. And then The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina by Zoraida Cordova, which is about a family who is trying to find the hidden truth of their past and learn about the strange powers that they have inherited. The book that I am the most excited for is The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. I have been anticipating this book for so long. I loved the first 2 books in this series, and I cannot wait to read about Kwan's romance. And the main character in this book is also a YouTuber, which has me super excited to read about. I don't know that I've ever read about a YouTuber before, so as a YouTuber, I'm very excited for that. So if you want to get any of these books for just $9.99, you can use the link in my description and the code Riley. And thank you to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video. Okay, so now for my July wrap up. I read 13 books in July. I am just going to run through my ratings for these and just some quick thoughts. Dead Space by Callie Wallace. This was on my June TBR, but I didn't finish it until like the first day of July. I ended up giving this 2 stars. I think that there was a lot in here that I really liked. This is basically a sci-fi thriller, and it very much reminded me of The Expanse. So I liked the world and the plot, but I didn't connect to any of the characters. I really didn't care about any of them and anything that happened to them. So this was just kind of 2 stars for me. I feel like this is kind of the opposite of The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Starling, which has like virtually no plot but is very character driven. I feel like if you didn't like The Luminous Dead, which I love, you're looking for something with way more plot and world building, maybe you'll enjoy this, but it just wasn't for me. So then I also read The Twisted Ones by T. King Fisher. This is a book that I had originally DNF'd a couple years ago, but then I read another book by this author that I gave 5 stars, so I wanted to give this a second chance. However, I was right to DNF it the first time. Like, this was just boring. Nothing really happened in it. I would barely even call this a horror book because the horror elements were like not really there. It was just like boring. That's all I can say about it. It was boring. So I gave this 2 stars. Then I read Shadow Kiss by Rochelle Mead. I'm still working my way through this series, and this is definitely my favorite book in the series so far. This is actually weirdly the book that I stopped reading the first time that I was reading this series. I only read half of this book, and then I never continued on with the rest of the series. Actually, I think this is my bookmark from when I originally was reading the book. So I only got 100 pages in the first time. But I'm listening to the series on audiobook and I'm just really enjoying it this time, and I'm super excited to read the next book and where the story is going. I'm just having a fun time with this series. The next book that I read is The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. This was my TBR redo book, so I have an entire reading vlog for this book with all of my thoughts in it, but I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a very promising start to a fantasy series. I ended up giving this 4 stars because there are multiple points of views in this book, and there were definitely points of views and storylines that I liked way more than others, but I am very excited to see where the rest of this series goes. Then I read 4 different 5-star romances. This was such a good romance month for me. I read Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. This is the first book in this mafia romance series, and I loved this so much. I gave this 5 stars. So this book is enemies to lovers, arranged marriage between these 2 people from like rival mafia families, and they are forced to get married and they really don't want that, so they spend like the whole beginning of their marriage trying to kill each other, and it's just so good. It's also very, very fun and funny, which I've never read like a mafia romance that had such a fun vibe to it, but I really loved this and I am so excited to continue with this series. Then I read another 5-star, which was Wolf Gone Wild by Juliet Cross. This is a paranormal romance about a witch and a werewolf, and I have said that this is kind of like Charmed meets the originals meets Venom, because this is following a family of, or a sisterhood of witches, and it takes place in New Orleans, where there are witches and vampires and werewolves all sort of like living in harmony together. And then the werewolf character has been cursed where he cannot shift on the full moon, so his wolf side has sort of like gone crazy inside of him and is actually like talking to him, and he very much reminded me of Venom and like the relationship that Eddie Brock and Venom have, and it was just like super funny. I laughed out loud through this book so many times, and I also loved the romance. It was just so good. The next 5-star romance that I read was The Pool Boy by Nikki Sloan. This is an age gap romance about a woman and her pool boy. So it's an older heroine, younger hero. Her pool boy is her best friend's son, so it's definitely like a forbidden romance. I really loved this series. The first book was The Doctor, which you guys know is one of my favorites, and now this one was so good, so I cannot wait to read the 3rd book in this series. Then I read Twisted Games by Ana Huang, which is the 2nd book in this series. The first book was Twisted Love, so I'm just like loving this series so much. And this is a romance between a princess and her bodyguard, and it was just fantastic. Like, Ana Huang writes the best, dirtiest romance heroes. The dirty talk in these books is 11 out of 10, so great. This is probably like my top favorite bodyguard romance ever. Then I read 4 books on Kindle Unlimited, which I'm just gonna quickly run through the titles because I do have a Kindle Unlimited vlog coming out in the next couple of days. So I read The Witch's Wolves by Ellie Mae McGregor, Feed by Aveda Weiss, Pool Girl by Cassie Mint, and then Caught by the Convicts by Jessica Kane. So now to get into my August TBR. Like always, I'm going to be choosing prompts out of my TBR jar and then choosing books that fit those prompts. So the first challenge is hyped. Okay, let's see. I have a couple options that I could go with, but I think I'm going to pick Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This came out a couple months ago, so it is a sci-fi book. So it's about the sole survivor on a desperate last chance mission, except he doesn't know that. He doesn't even remember his own name. All he knows is that he's been asleep for a very long time, and he's just been awakened to find himself millions of miles from home with nothing but 2 corpses for company. I'm very much in a sci-fi mood. I feel like I've been seeing everybody loving this book. And I really liked The Martian, also by Andy Weir, so I'm very excited for that one. Give it a little shake. Next is this one. Ooh, okay. Word association. So for this one, I get a random word and then I pick a book that is associated with that word. So let's do random word generator. Okay, so the word that I got is summer. I could pick a book that takes place in summer. I could pick a book that has summer in the title. Do I have anything with summer in the title? Oh my god, what if I don't have anything? I have to have something. Oh, wait, no, I know. It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. So this is a romance book that is supposed to be inspired by Alexis from Schitt's Creek, which sounds great. I have read a couple books by Tessa Bailey in the past and I have never really liked them. However, I'm willing to give her another chance with this book. So this is following a famous influencer. It's like a wild child and her father decides to cut her off and sends her to work in this little town's dive bar. And while she's there, she meets this rugged tugboat captain. So yeah, I'm very excited about this. I have heard really good things. I am going into this with medium expectations, but I feel like I might like it. The next one is young adult. So for that one, I think I want to continue on with the fourth book in the Vampire Academy series, which is Blood Promise. Like I said, I'm reading through the series and I'm really enjoying it. I am buddy reading this with two of my friends and I actually don't know if they have finished the third book. I'm gonna have to pressure them a little bit if they haven't because I really want to start this. All right, the next one is horror. This is my, oh, you can't see it. My horror shelf is up here. Okay, I read all of these. Oh my god, I need to buy more horror books. I've read all of these. Do I? Oh, actually, I do have a horror that I just got in the mail. So I just got The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. So let's pick this one. I forgot, I put this aside because I am buddy reading it with Molly. That's perfect because I already was planning on reading this. So this follows a group of final girls. They are all girls who have survived different like massacres and they all meet in this support group until one of the girls goes missing and they realize that someone has found out about their group and is trying to pick them off one by one. I am very excited for this. I love slashers and I love the final girl trope. You guys know I read Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix, so I'm very excited to read more from him because I really enjoyed that. All right, the next one is published this year. That one I'm going to pick For the Wolf by Hannah Witten. This is a fantasy romance about this girl who is being sacrificed to the wolf in the woods, but it turns out that the myth was wrong and the wolf is actually a man. And I have just been dying to read this. It sounds like my perfect kind of book. It kind of gives me like Naomi Novik vibes, kind of like Uprooted. Very excited for that. Next, I have sequel. For this, I know exactly what I want to read, and that is Stolen Heir by Sophie Lark. This is the second book in her Mafia romance series. I'm so excited to go into this book. I believe, from what I've heard, this one is supposed to be kind of like a Beauty and the Beast retelling. His father was murdered, so he kidnaps the daughter of the family that murdered his father in order to get revenge, and he keeps her captive in his home. So I cannot wait for this. Let's do two more maybe. We have romance. Let me pick another dark romance since I am doing that dark romance readathon. This right here is my dark romance shelf. You know what? I kind of just want to pick the third book, Savage Lover. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I just want to continue reading the series so much. So I don't know what this one is about. I kind of don't want to know yet in case it spoils the second book. Possibly for my dark romance readathon vlog, I might just binge read the rest of the series. I don't know, but for sure I want to read these two. I'm just loving the series. I kind of have like a slight obsession with Sophie Lark at the moment. I want to read all of her books. So love this for me. Okay, let's pick one more book and then we're gonna stop. This one, which is historical. This is my historical shelf. Ooh, okay, let's pick this one. So the one that I'm gonna read is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. This takes place in 1345 China. I wasn't planning on reading this so soon because I put the audiobook from Libby on hold and it said I wasn't gonna get it until October. But for some reason, yesterday, I got an email that I had been bumped to the front of the online and I could get the audiobook. So I want to read this now so I don't have to wait months. So yeah, this takes place, like I said, in 1300s China, which lies under the Mongol rule. And it's kind of inspired by Mulan because it is about a girl who steals her brother's identity to enter a monastery as a young male novice. And it says there, she's propelled by her burning desire to survive, and she learns she is capable of doing whatever it takes to stay hidden from her fate and claim her brother's given destiny as her own. So I'm very excited for this. Here are all of the books that are on my August TBR. Once again, we have a very wide variety of books. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!